Last year, China's humanoid robots put on a show. This year, they have to prove it wasn't just a show. Over 2,000 humanoid robots just descended on Beijing this week, more than 4 times the number that showed up at the first ever World Humanoid Robot Games last year. It's happening the exact same week the world's biggest humanoid robot maker goes public on the Shanghai stock market in an IPO that was oversubscribed roughly 8,000 times. More than 300 companies are unveiling over 150 new products all at once, all in the same city. And Reuters, not some skeptic blog, an actual wire service, is openly framing this exact week as the moment these companies stop getting credit for dancing and start getting judged on whether any of it makes money. So is this the week humanoid robotics actually grows up? Or the week the hype finally outruns what these machines can actually do? Stick around, because the number buried near the bottom of the reporting, the one about how many robots companies are actually managing to sell, might be the most important stat in this entire story. Let's start with the scale, because it's genuinely staggering. Last August, Beijing hosted the first ever World Humanoid Robot Games. 280 teams, a little over 500 robots, 16 countries. It made headlines everywhere because it was the first time anyone had done this. Robots boxing, robots running marathons, robots playing keyboard and guitar at the opening ceremony. It was framed correctly as a spectacle, a glimpse of the future, a really good show. This year, the number jumped to 2,056 robots. That's not incremental growth. That's 4 times bigger in a single year for an event that didn't even exist 18 months ago. And it's running alongside a separate, even larger event, the World Robot Conference, also in Beijing, also this week, with more than 300 companies and over 2,000 exhibits. Here's why the timing matters. This isn't just a robotics festival that happened to land in August again. It's landing in the exact same week that Unitree, the company most people think of when they picture a Chinese humanoid robot doing a backflip, starts trading on Shanghai's Star Market. That's China's version of the Nasdaq. Unitree's IPO raised roughly $905 million, and by the time the offering closed, it had been oversubscribed by retail investors somewhere around 8,000 times. That's their own reported figure, not independently verified, but even a fraction of that number would already be a record for the exchange. So you've got the biggest robot show in this industry's short history running at the same moment as the biggest robot IPO in this industry's short history, in the same city in the same week. That's not a coincidence. That's a coordinated moment where China is trying to convert a spectacle into a stock price. And this is where the story stops being simple. Because right alongside all of this excitement, the actual reporting on the ground this week is asking a much harder question. Reuters put it almost bluntly. China's humanoid robot makers have spent the past 2 years dazzling investors with machines that can breakdance, throw punches, and set marathon records. This week, they face a tougher test, proving those machines can work reliably enough to actually generate economic value. Not perform, generate value. That distinction is the whole story. A robot that can do a backflip on a stage in front of cameras is an incredible engineering achievement. A robot that a factory or a hospital or a warehouse will actually pay to keep running day after day, doing a real job, is a completely different problem. And right now, according to industry analysts tracking actual orders, not headlines, not demo reels, actual purchase orders, the vast majority of humanoid robot orders placed so far are for just 1 or 2 units at a time, not fleets, not factory floors full of them. 1 or 2, often going straight into a demonstration hall or a government showroom rather than a real workplace. That's honest. And it's worth sitting with for a second because it complicates the story every headline this week is going to tell. Analysts at Morningstar put it plainly. These companies have demonstrated strong technology and commercial traction, but moving from demonstrations and early deployments to widespread industrial adoption is going to take real time. Not a stock chart's worth of time, years. So think about what's actually converging in Beijing this week. On one side, you have 4 times more robots than last year, a stock market debut with almost unheard of demand, and a founder about to address the industry's biggest conference on stage about the next decade of humanoid robotics. On the other side, you have the same companies quietly admitting, in their own investor filings and industry surveys, that most of what's actually being purchased right now is 1 or 2 units at a time for a showroom, not a production line. Both of those things are true simultaneously. That's not a contradiction that gets resolved by picking a side, it's just where this industry actually is right now. The spectacle is real, the capital is real. The gap between what these robots can perform on a stage and what they can reliably do on a job, unsupervised for a paying customer every single day, that gap is also real, and it hasn't closed nearly as fast as the funding round headlines suggest. So here's the honest way to think about this week. It's not the week that proves humanoid robotics has arrived, and it's not the week that proves it's all hype either. It's the week the industry finally has to start answering the question everyone's been quietly avoiding while the demo reels kept going viral. Not, can it dance? But, will anyone actually pay for this to work every day? And based on what the order books say right now, that answer is still being written. So, does the sheer scale of what's happening in Beijing this week convince you this industry is finally tipping into real commercial adoption? Or does the 1 or 2 units at a time reality check make you think the hype is still running well ahead of what these machines can actually deliver? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.